Good evening. The time is 7 p.m. and I will now call this meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item on tonight's agenda is the acceptance of the agenda. I have no changes, so I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you both. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Next up is approval of the minutes from our regular meeting on April 19th, 2023. Now, these minutes were emailed a little late to you this afternoon, so has everyone been able to review the minutes?
I did. I got a copy if anybody wants to see it.
I looked at them.
If you're okay with them, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes from the meeting of April 19, 2023.
Thanks, John.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Sean. Any errors, changes, or omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Under communications and correspondence this evening, I did hear from Chris Cody recently, and Chris reached out to me because you may remember last year he volunteered on behalf of Chris Cody's Golf Shop to maintain the median that we have on the corner of Main Street and Route 66, and he's offered to do that again. Now, that area is scheduled to change with the upcoming Brainerd Place traffic modification, but you know, he will be maintaining that for the time being. So I just want to say thank you to Chris for, again, stepping up and helping the town of Portland out. So we are very grateful for that. That is it under communications and correspondence that I have. We'll move on to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience? And anyone in the chat? All right, seeing none, it is our first meeting of the month, which means it's our financial meeting, which means we have our monthly budget report, and Finance Director Tom Robinson is here to review our revenue and expenditures so far. Tom, would you like to come up? I know we're getting close to the end of the fiscal year, so you'll see things are kind of starting to wind down here.
So we have here in front of you, you have your budget revenue report. And if you go to the next 2 pages later, you have another budget revenue report with the original 2 budget transfers. So after the amounts, we had made the budget transfers for the amounts for the track. So that's why you'll see that transaction. But to make it a little easier to read, I didn't include that on the front page. So going back to the front page there, account 000101, educational cost sharing grant. This year we did receive what we were expected to, as well as a slight adjustment from last year to make every year they either adjust you up or adjust you down. And this year we actually got a slight adjustment up. So that's a nice thing to receive. Account 00207, emergency management. That was some of during the COVID period there, where we had received a 75% reimbursement. The president did a declaration to make it become 90%. So more or less it was just a check that showed up for the extra 15% of the federal share. So that was nice. 00214, miscellaneous state grants. That is usually that's where your dial-a-ride money is. So So that's what makes up that, as well as a $4,056 grant from the Help America Vote that was used for the previous election. 00302, Pilot Telecommunications. This has been an account where the money's continually drop over the past so on years, and it's the two companies, AT&T and Frontier, report information to the state, and then the state does calculation, and then we get reimbursed at a rate. It appears that Frontier did a lot of work in town, so therefore it caused the amount of equipment to go up, the value, so therefore we got reimbursed at a higher value.
Good.
Not sure how long that will continue, but I think we did make an adjustment in the next year's budget to, consider somewhere in the middle ground, as there is a depreciation factor on that we had talked about it with the state, and they wouldn't necessarily give an estimate of what they thought the projection would be in the future. So we had to kind of, the assessor and me and Ryan kind of came up with our best estimate of where we thought it could be most conservative in next year's budget. 00303, property rental. So in that account so far, we have 87,418 from Oak Hill. So we received our 4 quarterly payments. And then we have Brownstone at 259,606. Differences are made up by more or less other rental income that's come through more or less with the Board of Ed in the use of our buildings. You go to the next page, 00354, other revenue. And that was we had received around $38,000 from KERMA for their members' equity distribution. So that's a pleasant amount that we sometimes get. So that's why we budget that $20,000. This year we received 38. We did have a positive year in fiscal '22. We have in our healthcare, and we had negotiated in that because we're a premium pay town, so we managed that if there was a win in that situation, that the win would be shared by the town and the carrier. Usually the carrier just keeps the money. So in this instance, there was a return to us, and then there was also a amount where there was a premium holiday to the employees for a pay period for the board, and 2 weeks for the town employees. So that's it was about $150,000. So that's a nice, it's good that people were healthy, the plans were doing what they do, the wellness committees were working well, so good things there. Okay. Going to move on to expenditures.
I thought we could just stop there, that was perfect.
Good numbers.
Page 1. Page 1, the Board of Selectmen. As you can see, we are over budget in the project services. This is more or less running the Zoom meetings for all different departments and such. There is a overage in that item. So we'll have to, we'll consider that, but I mean, that's kind of the part of doing business, I guess, today.
Tom, did we change that for next year?
I think we had tried. I don't remember if we went up or not. We recommended it.
I think we went up a little bit.
A little bit? All right.
I do.
I don't recollect.
Also, I can pull it up. Also, we did make a change to the meetings where only the Board of Selectmen meetings now are being filmed and recorded.
Okay.
So going forward, the Planning and Zoning and the Zoning Board of Appeals will be in person, because just due to the expense.
Right. Okay. In the 07, which is more or less the second page, they're doing pretty good. We still have the budget referendum to go. So, that's, and they have to get their canvassing completed. So it's possible it would go over, but there was that grant to that came in, so that's a positive as well. So we'll keep watching that, but kind of with elections, you gotta do what you do to make the election work. So, continuing on, page 3, the technology budget. Technology has been a challenge, challenging this year. Everywhere you go, there's additional technology. Every item that you do seems to be changing to a subscription-based. So quite a few challenges in technology, but keeping working through that. As we've talked about, there's overtime challenges. I think there was some improvements we did for next year's budget on that line item, as well as I think some of these changes to the meetings may cause a slight improvement there. 3108 licensing, we possibly would, so that's one of the ones where we hadn't been going over in the past. There's a possibility of going over in that. There are, we had to do some implementations for the cybersecurity. We've been working on that for over a year now to improve certain things. We did implement the MDR, and they're working toward now to implement a Microsoft 365 cloud service for email. All these things are improvements for our cyber policy, so we're working on that. So that's line 31008. In the future years, this line will be higher as well for any of the licensors that would probably be required for any of the building permit activity that any of those programs that they're buying for that the licenses probably will come out of this budget. So that'll be something we'll have to work on in the next after Dan gets all the items go through his bid process. 3605 is computer network. So for up until November, we did not have an assistant technology coordinator, as well as there's so many of these computer issues that do require the third-party consultant. So we do have 3 months worth of bills left at that, and obviously we don't have much money in that allotment. So we're going to continue to monitor this account, but just wanted to make you aware of some of the challenges that are ahead, and we'll keep working on those. All right, page 5. So police private duty continues to be a big item within the budget, and so we'll need to do put a request in for a supplemental appropriation of private duty revenue, private duty expense, and then the gas and diesel somewhat related to those matters. So Ryan and I will work on that for future meetings, and that'll probably would require a special town meeting due to the track supplemental appropriation. So we'll work on that. Other things we'd have already gone over in Fund 5. I'm sorry, page 5 on Department 23. I think there are some potential equipment needs that Captain Millardo is trying to get accomplished by the end of the year, and I think he'll, hopefully we'll have more information on that at a future date. Page 6 is the Public Works Director budget. As we had talked about during the budget cycle, the LCOG, they had changed the way the assessment was valued, and we had, for some reason, our assessment went up, but it was based on a calculation. We reviewed the calculation. As of 22, we were unaware of that calculation at the time when we did the budget. So obviously we were under budgeted in that matter. I think we've made some adjustments in this future budget. And we've also noted a significant amount of additional participation and or the allocation of the charge to be higher. So that's, and I saw a few, I think there are a few more pickups. So the bills come from the LCOG, and we will, kind of have to pay what our share of those hazardous waste pickups are. Want to share that with you. On page 11, 055, that's the municipal agent of the elderly. I know that Ryan has been working with the senior center director on these matters and trying to keep track and watching that, but also allowing trips to continue, although that's, it is globally over budget and all. So hopefully within that and in 054, the senior center, it'll kind of be able to be controlled. So I know Ryan was continuing to work to oversee that, as well as to make sure that trips are available to the members of the Waverly Center, that so they can achieve the goal of what they need. So that's the municipal agent of the elderly. Page 12, under employee fringe benefits. One of the areas to watch right now would be the termination pay. There's been quite a bit of either retirees or people that have left this year. So that one's already over our estimate, and that's like I guess that's very much just an estimate, that number. And it can fluctuate up and down, but there are also, I'm aware still of 2 other either retirees or departures that are not in this number yet. And we're waiting on the calculations on those. But hopefully globally we'll be in a decent shape, but still need to make our town pension contribution, need to make our workers' comp contribution, our dental contribution, and then the vacation pays need to be done. So keep an eye on that. And, so I try to give you oversight of the areas where we want to watch. There are definitely areas where we're in the positive, and the department heads are doing a good job of that, but this is a good time of year where there's a lot of activity. Springtime, you get a lot of activity within the public works departments. This is a time when they can get a lot of things accomplished. You have a lot of activity within the grounds departments, vehicle maintenance. So they'll keep monitoring and they'll keep working, but hopefully we'll have a couple good next months. And July's around the corner. Any questions for me? All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Tim? You too. All right, so moving on to item 8 on your agenda is a resolution on a fire suppression easement. And this is with Kelsey's Pond Estates LLC subdivision on Cox Road. And so this easement before you is to accept an easement that the town, as a requirement of the subdivision, there is a requirement that there is access for a water tanker in case of a fire. So what this is there's no cost to the town. This is a pad that's being put in that would be able to hold the tanker in case of an emergency. And once that pad is put in, the town would have to upkeep and then take control of the pad. So there would be a minimal amount of maintenance to that, but it's a pretty straightforward agreement. This is something that happens routinely with subdivisions, and it comes before the Board of Selectmen as we are the authority to approve these type of easement agreements.
Want me to read the resolution?
Sure.
Excuse me, Resolution, Board of Selectmen, Town of Portland, Connecticut, May 3rd, 2023. Easement agreement between the Town of Portland and Kelsey Ponds Estates LLC subdivision on Cox Road. Whereas on January 5th, 2023, the Planning and Zoning Commission approved the subdivision application of Kelsey Pond Estates and recommends the Board of Selectmen to accept the fire suppression source easement agreement adjacent to Lot 2, Land Records, Volume 1057, page 333, conditioned thereon, and whereas the easement shall be for the following purposes: accessing, installing, and maintaining a fire suppression source and drainage upon those certain areas situated on all that certain piece of or parcel of land, the grant of easement agreement. Now therefore be it resolved that the Portland Board of Selectmen hereby approves of and accepts the easement agreement relating to fire suppression source at 378 Cox Road, subdivision of Kelsey's Pond Estates LLC, in accordance with the town's charter.
Thank you. Ralph, is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, thank you, Sean. Is there any discussion on this? Any questions? See none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Thank you all. The next item is number 9 tonight, and this is a draft policy that's before you that is coming to us from our Parks and Recreation Commission. And this is regarding athletic fields advertising program. You may remember we did discuss this earlier in the year, and our Parks and Rec Director, Andy Dione, is here today to discuss this and answer any questions that the board may have. But I believe that the draft policy was sent to everyone ahead of time. So was everyone able to read this draft policy?
Yes.
Andy, would you like to come up just in case anyone has any questions? Thank you. I know Andy and the Parks and Rec Commission has spent an awful lot of time on this policy, and I do want to stress that if you look at the scope of operations, this it says utilization of field fencing to promote appropriate beneficial sponsorships while raising revenue that may be used to enhance and develop the park and ball field facilities. So, you know, the plan with this is that if this does generate revenue, that we are able to utilize that revenue for park improvements and whatnot as well. But I do want to stress that that is one of the things that we're looking to do with this. Does anyone have any questions? Or Andy, do you have anything to add?
No, this is pretty much almost very similar to the original draft I brought before you guys a couple of months ago. This most recent one was unanimously approved by the Parks and Rec Commission at our most recent meeting. And like Ryan said, we're hoping to raise revenue. That way we can help not only divert the cost of operating the park, but potentially help to make some enhancements of the facilities as well.
What would this raise a year if all available or sold?
So it would be 350 times 18. I don't have my calculator in front of me right now, but that's what it would be. This most recent draft here that you're looking at now, in this draft, the town would be purchasing the signs for the advertisers. So originally I mentioned, $6,300 is what Ryan just gave me, thank you. We would have to pay for the signs ourselves as written. Originally I told Ryan that might be about $100. That was based off some conversations I had with the Parks and Rec Commission and just looking at other towns. For example, East Haddam, they charge $350 for a new sponsor, but $250 for a returning sponsor, so we thought maybe that was the cost of the sign. Looked around a little bit after talking with Jesse from Youth Services. He bought some similar signs recently from a vendor that Parks and Rec has worked with before in the past, maybe lower than that. So it's $6,300 minus the cost of the signs. I don't have a number for that yet since it's not official. I didn't really reach out to the vendors just yet, but it might be lower than $100 per sign.
Would this go into effect this season, or is it going to start next year?
We're going to try for this season. In a perfect world, this would have all been done beforehand. It is our busy season too, with summer camp picking up soon. But we're going to try to get some advertisement banners this year. In future years, hopefully we'd have that done much earlier. But just this is a new policy we've been working on, so it might be more difficult than a normal year to get the entire fence filled.
By the end of May, we'll be a quarter way through the calendar year of this, so would they be prorated?
That's a good question. We can certainly look into that. Again, this was meant to be approved much earlier, so that's a good question, though. We'll have to look into that for sure.
I'm not sure if the policy as presented here allows for proration. Does it, Andy? I'm just.
No, it's not written in here, but
Yeah,
that's a
so
good point.
I believe it would be, what, unless we wanted to change the policy, but we also don't want to overcomplicate it either.
Mhm.
Yeah, and March 1st would be the deadline for a normal year, to get all these, all the logos from the sponsors and things like that, so we are behind.
It may be beneficial just use this season to get the word out.
Right,
So that next season you've got a full fence.
true.
We can take out an ad and say, your ad could be right here.
That's a good idea.
Looks good to me.
Does anyone want to move the policy as presented?
I
I'll make the motion for that.
Okay.
Or, I'll second this motion.
All right, thank you both. Any further discussion on this policy? Again, I just want to thank Andy. I want to thank the Parks and Rec Commission for special meetings, for regular meetings, and a lot of time and effort. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you.
With that, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right.
Now in bigger news.
All right, item 10. Is
Bingo.
Bingo. You got it, Jen. So bingo recently came up, and it's a little interesting because back in 2018, the state, for the longest time, the Department of Consumer Protection ran the bingo statewide. They ran the raffles and bazaars. And in 2018, they said that they were no longer doing it, and they gave it to the towns to run. And so we've been running the raffles and the bazaars since that time. However, bingo is more rare for us, being a smaller town, and it's also much, much, much more complicated than the other ones. And it was, Michelle and I spent a little bit of time on the phone with Consumer Protection and trying to figure all this out. And so I want to thank Michelle for her hard work getting this together. But in order for us to be able to let organizations and nonprofits hold bingos in town, this is a schedule that will need to be approved in order to do that. So if you see down to the bottom, it lists new bingo games. So there's 3 different classifications for bingo games. And Class A is 1 day per week, January 1 through December 31, and there's a $75 fee to the town for that. There's a Class B classification, and that is a maximum of up to 10 successive days, and that is $10 per day for that class of bingo. And Class C is 1 day per month, January 1 through December 31, and there's a $50 fee associated with that.
So I have a question. Your Class A is $75. Your Class B, a maximum of up to 10 successive days at $10 a day. I understand that, but are we saying that is that in addition to paying the initial $75 Class A?
No.
Because if they went in and they had 3 successive days, because it says up to 10, then they're only going to give the town $30?
Correct, that's it, yes. And this is part of the fun was figuring all that out. The state has a lot of forms with all this, so.
Was this the state recommended numbers?
Yes, these are the state recommended numbers. I don't even think that we're allowed to change them. I think they come from the state.
Oh, okay.
Can't argue with them. Yeah, they know best.
Oh,
You want someone to read this?
Sure.
All right. Resolution Board of Selectmen, Town of Portland, Connecticut, May 3rd, 2023. Fee schedule, bingo, bazaar, and raffle permits. Whereas, in accordance with PA 17-231, an act concerning municipalities and bingo, games, bazaars, and raffles went into effect January 1st, 2018, where the State of Connecticut Department of Consumer Protection transitioned the responsibility for the permitting and enforcement of all bingo games, bazaars, and raffles to the municipalities, and whereas the schedule of registration fees shall be set from time to time, and a schedule of such fees shall be filed with the town clerk's office. Now therefore be it resolved that the below-listed fee schedule for bingo games, bazaars, and raffles in the town of Portland be and is hereby set. I gotta read them all.
Why don't, you can read the new ones.
Okay.
Because the bazaars and raffles have not changed.
Okay. The new bingo games, classification, Class A, 1 day per week, January 1 through December 31, $75 to be paid to the town. Class B, maximum of up to 10 successive days, $10 per day. Class C, 1 day per month, January 1 through December 31, $50.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you both. Any additional discussion on
No.
bingo?
I did.
John Dillon.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Thank you all. All right, next up under item 11 are some proclamations. This happens every year, and we always say, why do these always fall on the same week or in the same month? But it is National Emergency Medical Services Week. It is, and that is May 21st to May 27th. May 14th to May 20th is National Police Week. And also, May 21st to May 27th is National Public Works Week. So I don't know who schedules these, but each one of these is critical to not just the town of Portland, but to our state and to our country. And so they certainly all deserve our thanks and our gratitude. And so we do have some proclamations here.
I would just like to say one thing. I would like to thank all three, the EMS, which I'm part of, our police department, Public Works. We do such a great job in this town. Every year we read the proclamation for them. I just think by giving them a thanks and putting this in the record, I don't feel we need to read them again this year, if everybody feels that. I'd like to make a motion, we bypass reading them.
So adopt the proclamations.
Adopt the proclamations and waive the readings.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
I'll third.
Well, again, I just want to say thank you to our Public Works, our police, and our EMS. Thank you all.
You know, many years ago, I had a medical incident where I got an ambulance ride. And I'll tell you, you can say what you want about small towns, but I remember I was on the living room floor, my wife called 911, and before she hung up the phone, there were guys in our living room, and I knew every one of them, and it's just, it's really, that's the small town feel that you get. I mean, you're volunteer firemen, you're EMS, 90% of these people, and they take good care of us, so we should be very appreciative of everything we got with these guys. And ladies.
Yeah, I mean, we've had 3 incidents that we required services to come in right there, right then and there, very quickly. Never had to worry about it, so very much respect the work they do.
Yeah, so I'll just say all those in favor of supporting these proclamations?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Abstention? All right, thank you, guys. Next up is appointments to boards and commissions. Are there any appointments this evening?
We have none.
There may be one.
Yep, I have one. Chris Rulo had previously resigned from the Veterans Affairs Committee, and so I would like to put forward Corey Ann Armstrong to fill that position. I think she may have actually previously been on the committee already, but she had moved away or something, and so I'm putting her name forward to once again be on the Veterans Affairs Committee.
Great.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you both. All right. Any discussion on this?
No.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right.
Thank you.
Move on to refunds of excess payments. Bobby?
Let's see. Motion for refund of excess payment, CCAP Auto Lease Limited, $537.69.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ralph. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, status reports. I have a couple things under status reports. I know, Ralph, you'll have a couple. I'll save some of the stuff.
Not really, I have a couple, but
Yeah.
a lot today.
I just want to remind everyone that our budget referendum is coming up on May 8th. That will be held at Portland Middle School in the band room from 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. So I strongly encourage all residents in town who are registered voters, as well as those who may be property owners owning property assessed at $1,000 or more, who are eligible to vote, to please do so. Absentee ballots are available in the town clerk's office. Currently, up until Friday at noon will be the last day, because Monday's the referendum. We had a really nice groundbreaking at our senior center last week that I just wanted to mention. We had, I know State Rep Christy Carpino was in attendance, as well as some members from the Connecticut Department of Housing, as well as HUD was there as well, and it was great. We even had Susan Bransfield was there, who had kick-started this grant, so it was nice to get those shovels in the ground and you know, get that project officially underway. And so that was nice. And I do want to mention that and I don't know if I mentioned it previously, but our senior center director, Lynn Tracy, did submit her resignation. Lynn has worked with us for almost 2 years now, and she's moving on from Portland. We're going to miss her. We wish her the best, and thank you for all that she's done. I think that the senior center is in a very good shape, and it will continue to be so. And we're in the process of looking for a new director right now, and that job is posted, and it does close on Friday. So if anyone is watching this and may be interested or know someone who's interested in that job, try to get that application in by that deadline, because after that we'll be holding interviews. I mentioned Chris Cody and the Triangle, and I think that's all I was going to talk about today. I will say GZA on the water, we just got an email from Rich DeRozier this afternoon. They're going to be on site on those properties tomorrow with their engineers working, just planning for the upcoming drilling later this month. So that's moving ahead. I also had a meeting with Ty and Bond and Enviro, the contractor on 248 Brownstone Avenue, this afternoon, and we are getting close to being able to demo the building in the center of 248. So we're just using our remaining funds and trying to stretch those dollars to make that property as marketable as possible, and that means taking out, there's a scale, there's a weigh station basically there, and so we're gonna demo that. There's a smaller building that's attached to the garage that's closer to the road that we're going to demo as well. And so we're just going through the approval process. We had Pete Wilsier, a building official, was on the call to make sure we get all our permits in place, and we're able to do that. But that is moving along, and I believe they're going to be Enviro is going to be back mid next week, and then the demo is scheduled for the week after at this point.
Any hazardous materials in there?
Yeah, there's some asbestos in
I figured that,
in the
yeah.
floor. Yeah, so we had to do all the
Abatements all done?
Yep. So all that's and that's what Ty and Bond's been working, making sure we get all that squared away. The SHPO certifications. I know the Historical Society wanted to stop by and take pictures before the demo, so I think we're gonna do that. And so yeah, so we're just trying to get all those things out of the way, but that's a good thing. And so that's it for me. unless anybody has any
Sounds good.
questions.
No, but that's good. I was gonna ask you about that.
Okay, I only have, actually, I previously spoke about the other item, other commissions, so I have the library commission. The big thing to note there was that, at their meeting, the new director was able to make it and meet everyone on the board. Jennifer came in, and that was good, and Jennifer actually started this Monday, and, I was, asked by the, chair of the board to make sure to remind you all that there is an event tomorrow between 4 and 6 and to honor Jan's retirement. And at 5 o'clock specifically, there may be some proclamations that may be looked at or.
Yeah, I wanted to read the proclamation tonight, but Michelle wouldn't let me because Jan hadn't heard it yet. So we wanted it to be a surprise. So that'll be nice tomorrow.
So yeah, so she just want to make sure I get it out to make sure everyone's reminded that
Yep.
event will occur. That's it, actually.
Great. Oh, thank you, Ralph. Any other status reports?
Oh, you didn't mention that you signed the
That's
contract.
right.
Signed the track.
I did sign the track agreement, and we are moving ahead with that. July 1 is the official start date that went into the agreement, and we're looking forward to getting this track. I mean, it's been a long time coming, and so hopefully we can get that going for some fall sports if we're lucky. So fingers crossed for a dry summer.
I made my note page here. I also noted the ribbon cutting at this for the solar panels.
Oh, that's right. So, thank you, John. So all the selectmen are all invited. Next Friday is a ribbon cutting at, I believe it's 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
And it will be the official ribbon cutting for our solar project at the Brownstone Intermediate School. This was, again, Susan will be there. I invited Susan, and the Clean Energy Task Force will be there. They were all played big roles in this. But this is it's a really great program that we were able to take part in with because of the Green Bank, the Connecticut Green Bank, they're very proud of this because we're one of the first to go through this program. And I believe we'll be getting a very cool plaque at the ceremony, and it'll be a nice event. So I hope all of you can attend if you're able to next Friday. I believe the kids at the Biz are even learning some songs. Maybe Here Comes the Sun. I don't know. I think Charles has some things up
Or
his sleeve
rainy
with
days
this,
and Mondays get you down. I mean,
And speaking of solar, I will add to that topic. I did reach out to Rob Klee on that NRES bid that is currently out, because I was hoping that we would hear by now. There has been no news yet, so these things, they said maybe by the end of this week they should know something, but they're not 100%. So stay tuned. It's coming very soon. So I know that's something we're all thinking about, and fingers crossed. Yep. Anything else?
No.
Okay, so we'll move on to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak? Is there anyone online who wishes to speak? All right, so moving on to Board of Selectmen general informal discussion.
I see Andy here. I got a question for him. I was looking at Facebook this afternoon and saw some town concerts listed. Are we in the process of getting our schedule together for the concert series this year?
Schedule's up online right now on our website.
No, I missed that. I didn't see it.
You go to our Recfest homepage, put our calendar, all of our stuff's there, including the
Yep.
concerts. I think first one's July 11th.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Great, July 11th. All right, thanks, Andy. Any other informal discussion?
No.
Is everyone feeling all right tonight? Sure.
Feeling good.
All right.
I think we now have to thank Sean. He cut about 10 minutes off this meeting.
I don't have anything under follow-up items. I will say, though, I think we'll have to talk about the ethics ordinance at some point. I know Jim Oates, the believe he's the chair on the Ethics Commission. He had some proposed changes, and I'd like to invite him, now that we got the budget out of the way, maybe do an upcoming meeting just to talk about some recommended changes that we could make to help clarify the process, make things a little smoother. So I just wanted to mention that, but we can obviously move that at a later date. So with that, I'll entertain a motion
I
to
make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Sean. Is there a second?
I'll second that
All
motion.
those in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night, everyone.